My palette. I already have my paints poured and ready to go.
Starting with the blue.
We're going to start with our blue and white, my background. I'm going to add white and then blue on top to kind of blend it. I already have my paints poured and ready to go. I'm muting that. Plug up my, nope, let me go back. All right. Got it. And I'm going to try to, since it changed it, I can't see when people are jumping in, but we'll see. Yep, that doesn't do it for me. Still messing around trying to make it do something different. Yeah, that's not it. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, welcome. I'm Ronita. I am a Purposeful Point, and I teach paint parties, mobile, in person, and online, as you can see. And today we're painting this fun, I call it Candyland. These are the main two ones that I like. I threw this one on there. I wasn't real crazy about it, so that I'll leave that up to you. And then also, mine's are red and white. If you want to do a multiple, like, you know, those big candy suckers or whatever, sometimes it's multiple colors. If you want to mix it up and change your colors, that's also a possibility. The thing about it is, you know, this, I'm giving you guys a template, but you can paint it your own, make this painting your own if you want to change it up and do something different. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with the my background. I'm going to move this. That's my reference photo. And we're just going to paint the whole background blue. And I'm going to start with my largest brush. And I like to wet that first. That's my brush. I like to wet it. And I'm going to touch it to my paper towel to get rid of any excess water. And I start with my white. And it doesn't matter. I don't have a direction or anything. I still like to have my brush a little bit wet. As you can see, I dipped it in the water, but I didn't dry the brush off because when it's a little wet, it helps to move the paint around the canvas. So I dipped it in there. And then now I'm going to dip my brush in a little bit of blue, and I'm going to go on top with that white. As you can see, because I have the white in my brush, how light the blue is, and you decide how light or dark you want your sky to be. All right, and I'm going to cover the whole canvas. And actually I'm using, you can use canvas. I'm using paper, or what they call acrylic paper. It kind of handles the acrylic paint that we're using. It handles it well. As you can see, it does bow just a little bit, but if you put it under something and lay it flat, but anyway, it doesn't buckle it. You can see it still has a smooth surface if you were to add it to a canvas or to a frame or anything like that. So I'm using a large flat brush. Usually you can find either like a quarter or 1 inch or even a half, but well, you can find that easily in the store. So if that is what you're kind of shopping for, so just cover. And there's no method to my madness. I just want to get my background covered with my blue and my white. And guys, you are welcome to unmute if you have any questions. But if you know you have a lot of background noise, I do ask that you mute. You can come off and ask your questions. But if you have a lot of background noise, it might not sound like much to you, but for us, it's kind of rough. So just keep that in mind. So mine's my, it has to do with my paper. It does kind of dry out faster, makes it harder for me to spread my paint. No particular direction. Just like I said, it's my goal is to get it covered. Trying to. I'm not real crazy when they change these platforms. They Zoom has changed, and like for me, I have a big square covering my face with everybody's list of names. It used to be where it was over to the side, and then all you guys' pictures were across the top. But I don't know if I will have to later when I get off here sit and play with it and try to figure out how to put it back. I don't recall changing anything. So obviously they changed it. I know they say it's not to aggravate us, but it's aggravating. More white. That'll stay up there. Now, if you were using a canvas, it would spread a lot. It'll spread a lot easier, a lot better. It doesn't, because the paper absorbs the paint, so it makes it challenges you a little bit more. And there's a lot of variations in my sky, and I like that. That's why I liked to mix my paint on the canvas rather than mixing it on my tray, because it gives all the different variations. And it's up to you if you want to mix your light blue on your tray or however it works best for you. You decide how dark or light you want your sky to be. I see that. Change that. Close. Turn it towards you guys. Full front. And there goes my. Feel like I haven't done this in a long time. Okay. After I get my background covered. So I want you guys, don't worry about being too, making it a solid or opaque color. As you can see, I have a lot of variations. It's kind of mixed on there. Some areas are darker, some areas are lighter. And my goal is to give the illusion of the sky. So the sky is not all a solid, opaque, light blue color. So I don't want you guys to focus too much on making sure that your background is a solid, even color. Okay. And I see MJ. That would be Mary, I'm going to assume.
In the Republican primary, but going back to this testimony or this deposition by
Okay. Hi, Mary. All right. So we should be finishing up our background. I didn't take mine all the way to the edges. It's just, like I said, it's a little bit challenging for me using the paper. It dried out quicker, and it gives it a just a little fun touch. Almost like it puts a frame around it when I don't take it to the edge. So that's, so it's intentional, but for a reason, all that good stuff. So Mary, we just took our colors today, our red, white, and blue, and we took the red and the blue. I didn't mix it on my tray. I mixed it on the canvas as usual, and to create my background.
The white and the blue.
The white and the blue. Yes, I'm sorry, the white and the blue. All right. So I don't know for you. Mine's is it's a little bit damp, but it's not too wet where I can't go ahead and start painting my circles on my my canvas. Now, if yours is too wet, let me know, because if you add that white, it's pretty much going to blend the white and the blue, and that's not what we want. So mine's is dry enough for me to add a big white circle. You guys have to decide where you want that big lollipop to be. You don't have to make it centered. Please don't make it centered. That way it's not, make it a little off centered. So that's not intentional. We want to off center it. I'm going to bring mine back this way so that I can add the smaller one there as well. So I don't want a big center lollipop dead center. Okay, guys. So I'm going to make a big circle with my white paint. See that? How big you want your lollipop, you decide. But a big circle. If you have something that you can make your circle with, if you want to be a perfect circle, you can use that. But I'm just going to eyeball it. How's the weather, ladies? I know in Florida, what you guys are experiencing.
Warm.
It's warm, I bet. Actually, it was a little bit warmer today.
It's a storm. The next few days are stormy, very windy, gusty.
Okay. So it warmed up so that you can have a nice storm.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I made mine big enough. Bigger? Go a little bit bigger. You guys can make it as big as you like. Suzanne's on here, and I always tell her she always go big or go home. But of course, when she goes big, she uses the biggest canvases that she can get. So I'm I put the first layer. You may want to put a second layer, but remember when you're layering, you have to let that first layer dry before adding the second layer, or else you're just gonna be pushing the paint around on the canvas. Okay. So next I'm going to go to my smaller lollipop, smaller circle. And again, that one can be as big as you like or as small as you like, but I'm going to say big because I want you to use the space. Don't leave a lot. This is going to have a lot of negative space, but so you want to fill up as much as you can. And we are going to fill up some of the more of the negative space with clouds as well. So like I said, I put that piece of candy up there. I don't like it, but I am going to put a circle up there. Maybe I'll do something different with it. But I am going to put that there, put a smaller circle. You don't have to put that on there. It's entirely up to you, ladies. So I'll decide later what I want to do with it. Okay, so now we have put our circles in place. And while those dry, we're going to add some clouds. And same thing, you guys just decide where you want those clouds. And the way I do the clouds is basically, I'm just going to be dabbing the paint onto the canvas. And no, you just think about what the clouds look like. They're not circles. Can you see that? Just kind of dabbing the paint. Because I want it to look kind of textured. So we're going to make our clouds look a little bit textured. Bring them off the canvas just a little bit. Okay. Just dabbing the paint on there. Okay. Now, they're still kind of pale. We'll come back with the second layer, but when we put that second layer on there, we're not going to cover the whole cloud. We're just going to put certain areas so that it'll look like it's kind of textured. So some areas will be a little bit lighter. When I say lighter, more transparent, you can see some of the blue coming through. And then some areas will be more opaque with more white, the more white that we add. But now while we go ahead and let that those clouds dry so that we can add the second layer, I'm going to put another layer of white on my circles. On my candy canes, not my candy canes, my lollipops. I don't know what the age range of this group, but ever since I painted this, I just keep thinking about Shirley Temple.
The good chip lollipop?
Yes, over and over, singing it in my head every time I look at this picture, this painting. Growing up, of course, we all wanted those curls. Hopefully your circles are dry enough for you to put that second layer on there. I'm just adding one thin layer. They want to stay up there. All right, I'm also going to dab a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to add some more white to the clouds, but I'm not going to cover the clouds. I just want to put it in some areas. Some areas will be lighter and darker. Maybe do some across the top. Can you see the difference in how I'm adding some white, but I'm not covering the whole cloud with the second layer? So it'll look like some areas you can that are more areas of the cloud are a little bit transparent, so you can still see the. We're trying to make them kind of fluffy. So I'm just dabbing some paint on, but I'm not covering the whole cloud. You can kind of make little circular motions to make it kind of fluffy and make your clouds look like they're a little bit rounder. Okay. Next, I put that cloud there. Looks like my my candy stick is going to go right through that cloud there. Okay. So you guys can, I'm gonna add that stick, and you guys can choose whether or not you want to use the pointer brush to make that, draw that line from the candy. You guys know I love my flat brush. I'm just gonna turn my flat brush and just bring the line down. I'm gonna make it, now on mine's it's a little bit thin. I'm gonna make it a little bit wider, so I'm gonna end up making some stripes on mine. Add a little character to it. Make it a little bit wider. See what I'm talking about there? Instead of just painting it red, solid red, I'm gonna make it red and white stripes. And I'm gonna do the same with this candy. But I did make it a little bit of an angle, because it's so far down at the bottom. If I go straight down, it won't be, I won't make it onto the painting. Okay. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with this one. If I'm going to make it a lollipop or a peppermint. I'm going to leave it to last. Okay. So now we're ready for our red, but I want to make a middle circle. You guys can see where there is a second circle inside. So there, and then the same there. So I want to, even if you had like a pencil, or you can mix something. I don't want it to stand out too much, change the color, but some kind of way, whatever color that you can use to make that second one in there that will make it really pale. And so I'm thinking, I think what I used, that I took a little bit of black. Let me grab my black. And I'm going to make a really pale, I'm going to mix it with white and make a really pale gray, just so I can still have a reference circle. So I don't want to change the color. I just want a reference circle. Okay. It's a reference circle. I'm just going to take just a dot of black, mix it with a little bit of white. Really, really pale, guys, so that I can have a reference, just something to change that. Really, really pale, guys. It still almost looks white, but just enough for me to make another circle inside the circle for my reference. So I don't know if you can see it. Might be barely can see it, but I can see it because I'm the one who needs to see it so that I can know. The same thing for you guys. You need to be able to see it. Maybe someone looking at your painting might not be able to see it, but we just want to make that inner circle so that we can make our stripes and our candy go in different directions. Change it up a little bit. Okay. There we go. I don't know if you guys can, I see it in the screen, so hopefully you can see that a really pale second circle right in the middle.
So I just want to ask, so there are three circles, right? The white one you did first, and the one with gray, and then there's going to be another one on the outside, like closer to the edge.
Don't worry about that one yet. All we're going to work on is just the one that's in the center, the big circle, and then put one circle in the middle.
Okay, but there are three total when we have to do it total afterwards, right? There's going to be three? Four. Okay.
So I don't want to, you don't jump ahead. I don't want to confuse you guys. Okay. Just make sure you got this one in there first. Okay. This pale circle here. Okay. And so now I'm going to switch to I'm still using a flat brush, but I'm switching to a smaller flat brush to paint my stripes in my red stripes in my candy cane. All right. So I'm going to take that one because that's about as wide as I want my stripes to be. So that's perfect. So I'm going to start at my edge, the outer circle, and I'm going to bring it to my middle circle at a little bit of an angle. I'll do one more. See that? Just a little bit of an angle. Mine might be too much of an angle. Okay. So I'm going to take the angle out because I think I angled too much. Just bring it into that middle circle. So I've done that 3 of them so you can get an idea of what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. Just outside to that middle. And we're going to do it all the way around. And it doesn't matter if they match. It's abstract. We're painting abstract. See that? Okay. Yep. Bring those lines straight in there. Now, we're going to kind of do the same thing, but just for you guys for a point of reference, I'm going to take the butt of my brush. I'm going to dip it in my red. And then I'm going to find the very center of my middle circle and put that there. So that'll help you guys know when we bring our paint the stripes in towards the center. That's where we're gonna bring it. And we're gonna do the same thing, but when I start on my inner circle, I'm gonna put my brush in where there's no red. So here, the area here, so my stripe is gonna start in between the red ones. So right here where it's white, and then bring it to the circle. Okay, and you guys can see on my example that it's not straight. You can see that I curved it a little bit. We're talking about that center one. So I did curve it a little bit to bring it into the center. Can you guys see that?
It's curving in the opposite way of the outer circle. Am I correct?
You're right. Yes. I took it the other way so that it could so you can tell the separate the two. Okay. Not gonna look the prettiest, but at the end it will. It'll look okay. We'll bring it all together. Once you get your pattern down there, then if you want to go darker, you can put a second coat on there. All right. It's already looking magical. Sometimes when you look at a painting, it might seem challenging, but when we break it down, it's manageable, it's doable, right? So I'm going to jump on to that second one. Draw that second one. The same technique. I'm going to start with my outer circle and bring it into the smaller circle. And if you want to go with a smaller brush, whatever works best for you. But with the smaller one, same technique. All right, I have my outer one. So now I want to do the same thing I did with my center down here, but a little bit smaller. You can start with that same center, put your dot in there so you'll have a reference point. Now, if you got your center in there, I talked about making stripes on my, the other stick. I want to do that now. You guys can watch me do that first one. You can see I did it at an angle, but if you want to go straight across, it's whatever works for you. All right, that's pretty neat. Or you can do it solid red. My example is a solid red. I made it a little bit thicker so that I can do that just for something fun. And again, I'm not sure. I can't wait to see if anybody chose to make maybe change the color to a purple lollipop or green or just multi, anything like that, whatever works for you. You're to make it your own painting. I did it with both. Okay. So we want to let that dry because we are going to put a little bit of an accent in there to bring it out a little bit. You can see on my example that the other circles that Liz was talking about, but we want to, it's going to be white, but we want to wait and make sure that our red is dry. So let's go ahead and decide what we're going to do with this other one. I'm not sure if you put it on there for you, but for me, it's like, let me decide what else can I do with that circle, that other piece of candy. So I am going to, let's see. I think I'm going to still make it a peppermint. I was attempting to add the little swirls in there as well. And so that's what I'm going to do. The same thing that I did with the middle. I'll put that dot right there in the middle so I have my reference point. Okay, there's my reference. And I'm going to, and this one is an experimental one. So you just got to do what you want to do with that one. As long as these two, you're happy with those two, that's all that matters there. All right, so I'm gonna start in the middle with this one and bring it out to the edge. And I'm just using my pointer brush. I start in the middle, bring it out to the edge. And of course, my favorite word today is curve, so I did curve it a little bit. This one might turn out a little bit better, we'll see. Okay. Probably gonna be able to get at least 5 on there. All right, that one looks a lot better than my my original. No, my original, I try to put, you can see the plastic, supposed to be the plastic wrap around there. And then I'm gonna, this one's gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna put a red ring around it. Paint the outside red. All right, so it looks a little bit different. I'm not sure if I want to put that candy wrapper around it though. Candy wrapper was white. I'm attempting to put it on there, which is just basically a triangle. Because I'm adding a triangle. I'm not touching it. My red is still wet, so I'm painting around away from that red. I'm not gonna bring my wrapper to the red. It'll just kind of be floating just so that I won't mix my red with my white. Okay, I'm done with my wrapper. Just want to make sure that my red is dry. So that's why we worked on the red. We went away from it, so we'll let it dry so we can go to our last step. Basically, I'm trying to put some highlights on there.
Since my white wasn't totally dry, is that what you're gonna do? Put white highlights on the red?
Yes.
When I painted, I already have white highlights because the white wasn't dry, so it came through the red.
So what I'm gonna do when I say highlights, I'm gonna take my white paint and paint a big circle around there. As you can see right here, see that?
Oh,
I mean, I took it right through all of it. And I did one on the outside and I did one on the inside. Actually, you can see here on my inside one, my paint was still wet. My red was a little wet. And I did the same thing here. Now for me, this one is dry, but I can see some wet areas on this one, on the big one. So when you said you already added the highlights, is that what you did?
Not intentionally.
Okay. Well, the good thing is, like, even if we don't put that white, that the next white circle, if you look at it, already kind of still looks like the purpose of that, the white circles to give it some dimension, bring it out a little bit, make it look, but really, if you look at it, it already kind of looks dimensional. It's already bringing it out. So however you end it, you're good. I'm going to give it a few more minutes to make sure, like I said, to make sure that my red is dry, and hopefully you guys, your red's not too heavy. Well, actually, my paint's already even dry on my candy. And then this one looks pretty dry. It's just this one. How's it looking, Diane? Is it dry?
No, I don't know. Mine's taking forever to dry.
Are you on canvas or paper today?
Paper.
Oh, wow. Yeah, usually my paper dries mine's is pretty much almost dry. Anyone else have is their paint dry?
I think mine is getting there. I was really behind you because I was confused about stuff. And I kind of asked the wrong question when I was asking, are there 4 lines? I wanted to make sure that that was the second line from the outside that I was painting to. That's kind of what I was getting at when I was asking if there were 4 lines, you know? I want to make sure going to the right one. So now we're going to be painting a white one inside that one and outside that one, right?
Well, we're going to be on top. So that's why I said those other ones you were talking about, that's after we added the red, and we're going to come on top of everything with the highlights with that white.
Okay,
Right.
but
I didn't
like
want to
3 lines inside there, right? There are total. Okay, because that's what I was trying to figure out, make sure I was painting the outside red to the right place. But I think I'm caught up, except I forgot to put a stick on the bottom one, so I just painted the white in. So I'm gonna have to wait to go over that with the red. But and I really liked the peppermint candy, the second one you did. I think that looks really realistic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I really like that one. Not that mine looks like that, but I like yours. And I have to tell you, I was very hesitant to come to this class because I don't know if I haven't been here for that long. I'm like, this is really, really complicated, but you have broken it down awesomely. I mean, it really makes sense the way you did it. But when I first looked at this, I said, oh my God.
Yeah, it's doable. So with my white paint, and again, you can also use your pointer brush if you like. I'm gonna use my flat brush. That's what I like. I'm using my flat brush. I'm dipping the tip of my flat brush in my paint. And then I'm gonna make this outer circle, the first outer circle on the bigger, that outer circle there. And of course, you're only going to see it in the red, but I'm still going to make it a complete circle. I'm not going to like make little short circles, but see that? So you see how it changed it a little bit? It was already dimensional. It was good, but this just takes it to a step up. And I'm putting a second layer because I took it all the way around without dipping. So some of it, some areas a little bit. Okay. Now, my second one, that's where my paint is a little more, let me see. Oh, no, my paint's dry. I'm going to do another one on the inside. You can see here, like I said, that's one I talked about. I took one on the inside and my paint was still a little bit wet right there. You can see it turned it red. Doesn't look bad. You guys didn't notice it other than that I pointed it out. So always remember that. You might see some imperfections, but everybody's not going to see that. And then if you do see an imperfection, step back away from your painting. It'll disappear. So now this one in the center, not the center, but the middle circle, I'm going to take it on around. Now it's not as big, so I don't have to put a second coat for me. You can see that it's already coming out of there. Very interesting. So I also want to go a little bit slower on this one. It's a little bit, this one's smaller, so I want to make sure. So I'm going to go a little bit slower. It's a little bit smaller, and I want to make sure I get it where I want it. That one. And then this one, I probably should go with the pointer brush because that circle's a little bit smaller. And I want to make sure because with the flatter brush, trying to curve, it's more challenging. So I'm going to use my pointer brush to get that circle on the one on the inside of the smaller one. And see, for you guys, if you're painting flat, it's a lot easier to do that. Where for me, standing up, it's a little more challenging. Okay. And I also want to take that white and I'm going to put the same thing I did with the circles. I want to do a line down inside the stick. You can see on my example, I did take it. Although my stick was red, I did bring that down there. So this one is wider. So I'm going to try, I don't want to put it exactly center of my stick. I'm going to be off to the side just a little bit. Not to the edge, but just off to the side, not directly down the middle, but off to the side. And if you are dead center, it's okay. So there. Isn't that neat? Just with a stripe, just made it kind of pop out a little bit. And I'm going to do both of my sticks like that. Now, this is the time where you put little details if you wanted to add something different. Now, I want to put a circle inside my peppermint up here as well. As you can see, it didn't go so well here. The paint was still wet. If your paint is still wet, beware. Don't do it. Maybe you can do it later. But mine's nice and dry. So I'm going to go ahead and put that circle around this one. This one might not look as, because it's a little bit smaller. So it might look a little bit different, but I'm cool with it. I think that's what got me, is because it was smaller, that ring on the inside didn't stand out as much, but I'm okay with that. And those are my finishing touches. This one almost looks like it's still going in circles.
That's what I like about it. It looks like it's moving.
I don't know, it might be a little bit dizzy. All right. So, of course, I want to take a group picture, but I'm going to go ahead and end it on YouTube. And then I'm going to put it on gallery view. So if anyone wants to hold up their painting, that would be awesome. So I'm closing down. Thank you, YouTube. Make sure you be on the lookout for next month's painting. Get signed up.